Well, hello, welcome again to a read through of Iliad 22, and I got up to line 289. So he continues on, Era, thus he spoke, and this, of course, is Hektor, and so Era, thus he spoke, and we've had that word before. It's that reduplicated aorist from Anapalo, so shaking around. Pro ea, he sent forth, he released his spear, which casts a long shadow. And kaibale, and he struck, literally the middle shield. Greek often uses that mesod in that way. We would say the middle of the shield of the son of Peleus. Nor did it, I think it's agreeing with Enkos, nor did it, well, perhaps veer off course. It's from apo plus harmatano, nor did it miss. Perhaps veer off course might be getting closer to the meaning with the apo there. But now the apoplankthei, it's a funny verb here. It's from apoplasdo. Plasdo is to wander, and apo, so to wander off course. And the tele is far. So, but the spear was driven. So the spear was driven far off course from the shield. And Hektor, kosito, this is from koamai, to be angry or vexed. So he was angry because his swift missile, literally, effuge, that literally fled from his hand for him, etosion, in vain. So he was vexed because the spear left his hand in vain. Ste de katephasos. This is from kataphio. Literally, I am humiliated or shamed. So here it's something like downcast or bewildered. So he stood there, downcast, bewildered, nor did he have, this is a lot going with Enkos, nor did he have another ashen spear. Deiphobon de Calais. So now the ausas macron, it's common idiom here. It means to cry out loudly, even though macron means far. I think it means generally taken to be shouting loudly. Calais is imperfect from Callio. He began to call on Deiphobus, who with his white shield, and he asked him. Now here the macron, I think, has that, is agreeing with Doru, so he asked him for a long spear, but he was not near hoi to him tit at all. This is the enclitic. That's enclitic, puts its accent back onto that. You get cascading accents again. Very common in Homer. So he was not in any way near to him. But Hektor egno, he realized, I think at this stage, in his mind, and ephonasen, and he said. So we get this little soliloquy here. Oh, popoi. This is this funny expression. It's hard to translate. It's perhaps, oh dear, that doesn't really quite get it. Something like bloody hell. It's a funny word, very common in Homer. E malade mestheoi thanaton di kalesan. This lovely string of particles. So surely indeed, very much have the gods called me to death. Callio can often have the sense of summon. have summoned me to death. For ego ge, I indeed thought that the hero Deiphobus Paranai to be present. Al hotmen en take, but he, men is on the wall, or in the wall, perhaps we'd probably say in the walls, but Athena has deceived me. I mean, a nice men and de here. So he is in the wall, or on the wall might be better, but Athena has deceived me, totally deceived me. It's X plus apatao. Non dide enguthi moi thanatos kakos. And now indeed, we're getting lots of these days here, now indeed, evil death is near to me. Got to supply the verb to be. Ud et anuthen, nor is it any longer far away. Ud alei. Now this is, I think this word's only in Homer, but it's connected with aleamai, to escape. So it's a noun here. Nor is there any escape. Got to supply the verb to be. Egarapale, for surely long ago. Now the tot get, I think this tot simply means this whole situation, that death really was more pleasing to Zeus and to the far-shooting son of Zeus. In other words, they had decided some time ago that this was going to happen. So, for indeed long ago, this whole situation, perhaps my death, was more dear, was more pleasing to Zeus and to the far-shooting son of Zeus, that's Apollo, of course. Hoi, who, now we get lots of enclitics again. That's enclitic, puts its, this is enclitic, and the me is enclitic. So who indeed before, eruator. Now this is that sonant nu here becoming an alpha. This is actually third person, to protect or rescue. So who previously used to protect me, prophrones eagerly, who in the past eagerly used to protect me. Nun autem moira cincane, but now, moreover, fate comes upon me, literally finds me. Me man aspudige kai akleos apolloime. Now this is an octative of wish here. So may I not perish. So man is just another form for main. May I not perish indeed. Asputi, without an effort, literally, without zeal, in fact, and without glory. Allah, but Rexas from Resdo, having done a certain great thing, even to be perceived by those who come hereafter, by the ones being about to be. It's a future participle from the verb to be, often used in Homer. He likes referring to the future, to the men who are going to come in the future. So having done some great deed, even to be perceived by those who come after. Hos ara phonesas erusato phasgenon oxu, and thus accordingly, having spoken, he drew out his sharp phasgenon, his sharp sword. And then top for hot, agreeing back with phasgenon. The main verb here is tetato. This is from tano. This is a pluperfect passive. So it literally had been stretched out, perhaps laid out. Hupot laparain, well, perhaps under his flanks. It's the soft part between the ribs and the hip, so which had been, well, attached or stretched out under his flanks, and it's mega, it's big, and stiberon, it's strong. Oi me sende ales, and we get a participle here, ales, from alamai, and it here apparently has the sense of, it's a passive participle here with the sense of picking himself up. So the commentators tell us, so having picked himself up, and the oimao is to swoop. So he having picked himself up, he swooped like, and we get a generalizing tet here, which is common enough in Homer, like a high-flying eagle. You can see the roots here, hupsi, and the pet from petamai. Like a high-flying eagle, who, asin, this is Amy Ibo, which has a present sense, not a future in Homer, who goes to the plain, dia nephion erebenon, through the black or dark, we get ebony of course from this, through the dark clouds, harpaxone, future participle, with the intention of snatching up either a, now amale is something like tender or feeble, and an alpha elided here, this is a lamb, so it's with the intention of snatching up either a tender lamb or patoka lagoon, a crouching hare. Now in later Greek, patokes, which is connected with pataso, to crouch, simply means a hare, it's a crouching one, but here it's the hare is the lagoon. In later Greek it becomes lagos, I should say, and third declension, here it's second, and this has got its original meaning of crouching. So with the intention of snatching either a tender lamb or a crouching hare, thus Hektor, this is that oimao again, he swooped tinasson, shaking or brandishing his sharp sword, Vascanon. And Achilles, Hormathe, set forth. Emplaceto is from Empimplami, I think it must have been. So literally he filled his soul, and its middle, he filled up his soul with wild strength or wild anger or rage. So in English we turn it around a bit and say wild rage filled his soul, but it's literally perhaps he was filled with wild rage, perhaps in respect of his soul. Prosthendesakos steneo kalupsi kalon dalion. And yeah, this is a little bit tricky. So it's something like, it's literally he covered, so in front, the shield covered, and it's this, we get a funny genitive here, covered over almost his, well, his breast. And in apposition with Sakos we get kalon didalion, beautiful shield, and it's didalion, curiously wrought or cleverly wrought, connected with Daedalus, of course, in Greek mythology. So anything which is Daedalus means it's very cleverly made and tricky. Koruthi de epinuthi fine tetraphala. And this again, these lines, you'll need to look at the commentaries on this. They're very funny in terms of their meaning here. So it's epinuth there, literally he nodded with his helmet, which was shining, and tetraphalo, possibly with 4 little horns on it. Others take it to mean 4 metal plates attached around the helmet to give extra protection. It's literally 4 plumed, but exactly what these plumes are, this phallus, need to see the commentaries. This next line also, it's very rather difficult. So it's beautiful Etheri. These are hairs, beautiful hairs. Periseonta were shaking around. So I'm meant to see these sort of like plumes. So beautiful Etheri, plumes of hair were shaking around. And their crucii, they're golden in colour. And then in opposition to these Etheri, which, and some scholars think that this is a spurious line because it also occurs in book 19, 383. So it's something like the hairs which are thick that Hephaestus sends down or let down around the Lophon, the crest. So the image here is complicated, and I'll leave it to the commentators to explain in more detail, but that's what it is. So beautiful locks of hair, or beautiful perhaps plumes, we might say, for Etheri, were shaking around, golden ones, which are thick ones, which Hephaestus lets down around the Lophos, the crest. Hoios daster asimet astrasi. Now we get instead of having hosts and hosts we've seen before, we get a hoios now for hosts. But it's just doing the same thing. So as a star, as an evening star goes, or as the evening star goes among the stars, noctus amolgo. It's a fairly common expression in Homer, but of uncertain meaning. It's generally meaning in the dead of night. But the amolgos here is not clear what it comes from. So as the evening star goes amongst the stars in the dead of night, the evening star which which stands as a star most beautiful in the heaven. So the star which stands most beautiful, the most beautiful star which stands in the heaven. Thus, ap lamp, probably impersonal here, there was a flash from the well-pointed, so in other words sharp, aikme, spear, which Achilles then, Palin, imperfect, was brandishing. Dexetere, we have to supply Kerry here, with his right hand. Phronion kakon, thinking an evil thing for glorious Hektor. So he's shaking it around, and he's looking at the beautiful skin, literally, as to the place where it might yield most, well, perhaps most easily or most of all. Tu dekai alatoson men ekikroon kalkia tukia. Now, this is again a little bit tricky here. The alatoson you've got to take together. It's literally as far as the rest two of him. So as far as the rest of him was concerned, in other words, the rest of his body, the subject here is the kalkia tukia. The bronze armour held, or perhaps covered, the skin. Now we get a men, and the det is down here. The beautiful armour, which, after he had killed, from katakateno, this is an apocopated aorist. Now, Homer often says, instead of just saying the person, they say the strength of the person, but It's just a periphrasis for the person himself. So having killed Patroclus, literally the strength of Patroclus, in Arixe, he robbed him of it. And remember that the Patroclus's armour actually belonged to Achilles. So there's a certain irony here. Just to do this bit again, it's a bit tricky here. So as for the rest of him was concerned, the beautiful bronze armour covered his skin. The armour which he had robbed, he had taken as spoil after he had killed Patroclus, literally the strength of Patroclus. Fine at top, and there appeared, now hey here, you've got to supply hodo or something. There appeared a place where the Cleides, these are the collarbones where they hold the neck away from the shoulders. So they separate the neck from the shoulders. So he saw the place where and that place is the Laucanian, this is the gullet or throat. So there appeared the place where the collarbones hold the neck away from the shoulders, the throat or gullet. Hina here, where, not in order that, so where is literally the swiftest destruction of life. This is from Okistos, from Okos, swift. And at that place, glorious Achilles, now this one bit is tricky here, struck him with his spear. So struck struck him. This is an alpha Iliad here. You've got to supply out on here or something. So at this place, glorious Achilles struck with the spear him, that is Hector, as he was rushing epihoi against him. That's reflexive, agreeing back with Achilles. So that's just a little bit tricky there. So it was at that place that glorious Achilles struck with his spear Hector as he was rushing against him, that is against Achilles. And the akoke, this is the sharp spear end, aluth from aelthon, this is the aeolic form. The spear tip passed through the soft iconos, the soft neck, and the anti-crew means straight through. The precise etymology of this is not certain, but this word continues on into Hellenistic and Biblical Greek, meaning opposite. If you've read the New Testament, you'll see this word continues on into Biblical Greek. So the sharp spear passed straight through the soft neck, but neither did the melee, the heavy bronzed ashen spear, tamer from temno, nor did it cut off the asparagon, the windpipe, so that, and this is important of course, so that replying with words he might, this is from proti and then apoi, so that he might speak something to him. Min is enclitic, so it's put its accent back. This is the indefinite, so that he might be able to speak. So it's gone through his neck, but it's avoided the windpipe, so he can still give a reply, which is important in the drama. Erepe, he fell into the dust, and glorious Achilles, ep euxotop, boasted over him. And that is the next section of Book 22.